Hello, friends. I am back. Did you miss me? Anybody watching this in recording says, what are you talking about? Okay. So I haven't done a daily art adventure for a couple days. I guess it's not quite daily, is it? Welcome to reality. Welcome to my life. Anyway, welcome. My name's Dan Nelson, and I'm an artist. Most of the time on this YouTube channel, I'm doing oil paintings, but once again today I'm doing, as you can see there, an architectural rendering with watercolor. And I've already done the rendering here in pen and ink, a brownish ink, and I used a rapidograph pen. So don't ask me what kind of pen I used. This kind of pen for much of the drawing, and I used a fountain pen for the outline. Okay, so I'm finally down to finishing this in watercolor. Let me try to get all my furniture arranged here. I have done a mask over all of the house here. I used this time a Winsor Newton colorless art masking fluid, or liquido enmascarador. I'm sorry. So all of that is masked out, and that allows me to do the watercolor with big brushes, bold strokes, and quickly. And I've decided this time, okay, let me show you a couple things. First of all, here's the CAD drawing that they sent me that I'm drawing from. And I've already done a number of renderings for this client, although it's been a year or more since I did the last one. I still have a few of my earlier renderings that I did for them, and I'm glad I've got them because, of course, I'm supposed to some degree, of course, match that technique, match that look. And I say match in quotation marks because, of course, I am now a year older. Everybody knows that, and because we're all a year older than we were a year ago, and I'm happily a year better artist than I was when I did that illustration. And I want to talk about that for just a minute, about how lucky, how blessed us artists. If you're an artist, 3 cheers for you, man. One of the best things about art is that you can keep getting better, I believe, your entire life. You can just keep getting better and better and better. I want to show you the work of a very famous artist in just a minute. I listened to his biography on a podcast not long ago, and several aspects of the podcast of his biography really caught my attention. But I want to start by giving you a little trivia quiz. Can I do that? Are you ready? Ready for a trivia quiz? Here it is. What is the most famous painting in all of human history? Dum dum bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. You got that right. Jeopardy. Okay, what is the most famous painting in all of human history? Most famous determined by what? I think then probably the number of reproductions made, so on and so forth. First of all, I'll start by telling you what is not. These would be good guesses. The Mona Lisa, but that's not correct. Rembrandt's Night Watch, good guess, not true. One of Vermeer's paintings, A Girl with a Pearl Earring, nope. How about something modern like Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe or Campbell's Soup? Nope. Hasn't been around long enough to be the most famous anyway. So there's a hint. It's a painting. How about how about the cave paintings of Lascaux, France? I think that's how you pronounce that. Lascaux, Lascaux. But in French, remember, all letters are silent. So it's Nope. Yeah, at least we don't think so. Okay, here's the answer. The answer is, I'm just going to say the name of the painting first and see how many of you know it. Okay, the name of the painting, most famous painting, we believe, in human history is The Wave. And even though you may not, a picture might not be coming to your mind, some of you have got it already. Some of you might have gotten it. I'd love to hear if anybody got that quiz correct. I'm not sure I would have gotten it correct. I know, I'm sure I wouldn't have before I listened to this podcast. But after I heard it, after they told me, I went, oh, of course. Even if you didn't get the quiz right, as soon as I tell you, as soon as I show you which is the most famous painting in human history, I think most of you, like me, will go, oh, yeah, that's right. Because I would guess every single person listening to me has seen this painting before. Even if you didn't know anything about it, you've seen it. Okay, so I just happily, since I knew I was going to have this date with you guys, I brought a copy of it. Here it is. Let's zoom in. That, my friends, is the most famous painting in history, The Wave, by an artist named Hokusai, Japanese artist. He lived, I just reviewed some of this online so I get it right, born in 1760. So he was a strapping 16-year-old teenager when the United States declared its independence. Okay, just to give you a frame of reference. A little bit younger than George Washington. And the reason I mentioned this painting, that was just for fun. The reason I mentioned Hokusai is because he's a very inspiring character. At least I was inspired when I heard this story about him. He lived to the ripe old age, and I'm not positive about this, you might have to look this part up, but he lived to approximately the age of 90. And as I heard it, he had made, before he reached the ripe old age of 90, he had made several claims that he was going to live to be 110 or 100, something like that, 115 years old or something like that. Alas, he did not make it to 115, but he made it, not bad. Made it to age 90 or 105 or something like that. I think it was 90. You can look that part up really easily. That's not the reason I'm telling you his story. That's not the inspiring part, even though that's impressive to live to 90. The odds are against most of us getting that far. Here's the impressive part. He's not only did he say I'm going to live to be, I think he said 125, but again, I'm getting fuzzy on the details. It was some ridiculous old age, and he said I'm going to become a better artist all the way along. And even though he fell short of his goal of 110, 15, 20, whatever it was, here's the goal he didn't fall short of. According to many art critics, I understand, he actually achieved his goal of getting better every decade of his life. He was a better artist at 90 than he was at 80. Better at 80 than he was at 70. Better at 70 than 60, 50, 40, and so on and so on. Now, I don't know about you, but that's darn impressive. That is really, really inspiring. And I decided to make I just didn't decide recently. But when I heard that, it encouraged me, because I have said many times, I've said it here on this broadcast, and I've said it in public for probably 10 years now. I have said that by the time, I hope and expect to be a good painter by the time I am 70. And please, the wrong response to that would be, oh, Dan, you're already a good... No. In fact, I learned yesterday that I did not get into the 2018 Oil Painters of America. Again, so that's 2 years in a row. I did not get into the Oil Painters of America. And that's pretty irritating. Now, I'm not irritated with the judges. I don't mean that. I'm pretty irritated with myself. Now, there's a real fine line. Let me talk to you artists for just a minute. Can I talk while I continue to paint? There's a real fine line between proper discontent and improper discontent. And I hope I'm on the right side of the ledger. Improper discontent is, first of all, if it leads to depression or paralysis, if you stop working, if it leads to discouragement, then you're on the wrong track. The discontent that you're experiencing is too much. And a lot of people, a lot of artists in particular, really do struggle with that. Self-worth, as you know, yours truly does not struggle with an overweening sense of inferiority. That is not my problem. Most people don't accuse me of being too humble. And if you're new to my broadcast, I'm hoping that's a joke. I mean, but anyway. Okay, let me repeat something on a closely related subject. I'm just saying the same thing in different language. Here's how you advance as an artist. And again, I hope I'm speaking to some fellow artists out there. Here is how you advance. Small doses of, I'll use crass language just because it's the way most of our inner dialogue goes. Small doses of, oh crap. Okay? Small doses of, oh man, like me, like I experienced yesterday when I found out I did not get into Oil Painters America. Oh, crap. Again, I'm not mad at them. Oh my goodness, not at all. Just like, first of all, let me, at least at where I'm at in my career, it's not like I'm expecting, it's not like I was holding my breath to get in. And plus, I didn't feel like what I had to send them was, good, but it wasn't like spectacular. It was just okay. And so, I wasn't holding my breath, but it was still disappointing. Okay, how to advance as an artist. I'm interrupting myself. Small doses of, oh crap. And if you don't like that kind of language, then don't use that kind of language. You know what I mean. Some of you would use a whole lot worse than that. Small doses of, oh man, interspersed, I'll just be simple, by huge doses of, man, I'm good. Man, I can do this. Yeah, I'm getting better. Woo, watch out world, here I come. And if you're not in that mix, then you're probably not progressing as fast as you ought to. Let me say it again. Small doses of, oh, I wish I was better. Interspersed by pretty bold doses of, hey, I'm pretty good. And I think every artist within the sound of my voice right now knows what I'm talking about. Because in order to be an artist and to advance and process, advance, get better as an artist, there has to be a lot of encouragement. And by the way, I've heard many times through the years about art teachers who do not understand this, art teachers who criticize and ridicule their students. And I say, may God rid the earth of such blights on the planet as art teachers who feel like it's their responsibility to shame and humiliate students, to put them in their place, to make them better. They are blots on the planet. Okay, may they repent. Let's get religious here. May they turn or burn. May they turn around. I'm always astounded anytime I hear a story like this, that a student tells me, yeah, this teacher, he or she just ridiculed their students, and horrible stuff. No excuse for that. As you can tell, I'm pretty fired up about that. No excuse for that. So, and I don't expect to turn any of those teachers around. They are probably have all kinds of personal issues. You know, they're working on their fourth marriage and all kinds of stuff like that. But some of you are working on your fourth marriage, so I don't want to, I don't want to color with too wide of a brush, but you know what I mean. What I really want to tell is, if you have suffered at the hands of one of those teachers, then first of all, I apologize to you on behalf of all teachers everywhere. There is no excuse for that. You should not have suffered. You should not have had to put up with that kind of abuse. That is not good teaching. Every teacher in the sound of my voice knows this is true. Every real teacher, and probably every trained teacher, at least in the last 40 or 50 years, I would think every student who's got a teaching degree knows that is anathema. Just horrible. Okay, so teachers should mild doses of, I think you could do this better, and mega doses of, man, you're doing so good, you're coming along. Now, I don't mean that we're supposed to lie or tell white lies. As a teacher, you can always find something good to say about a student's work. Never mind. That's as far as I'm going to go with that. Now, back to personal development and growth. And the reason I bring it up today is because 1, 2, maybe even 3 years ago, not that long, sometime in the last 2 years, I did these renderings here. And now I'm doing another one. I ask you, what is foremost in my mind? Can you guess today? And if you said foremost in your mind, Dan, probably is, dang, I can do better than that. You are exactly correct. I look at those and say, yeah, not bad, but dang, let me add it. I can do better than that. Let me do a better one today. And it is that fire in my bones that is a big part of what keeps me going as an artist and makes me improve as an artist. Oh my God, just let me wrap up one loose end, and then we'll probably end this broadcast nice and short so you guys can actually watch the whole thing. I said I want to be a good artist by the time I'm 70. And part of the reason I tell people that is because I want that pressure on myself. I want that sword of Damocles hanging over my head. I've told a lot of people in a lot of places, fellow artists, that I plan, not I hope, wish, dream, wannabe. No, I plan to be a really good artist. Now, I hope I don't die before 70. I hope I don't die when I'm 70. But in other words, I hope to keep improving after I'm 70. But and again, you don't say, you're good already. No. I mean, I would like to, by the time I'm 70, not only get in the, for instance, in Oil Painters American National Show every year, but become not only a signature member, but an OPA master. Now, in order to do that, I have got to bust my buns. I've got some serious work to do. I've got to get way better than I am right now. And how am I going to do that? Well, by studying, by taking some classes, by paying attention. Just this morning, I spent a whole 45 minutes watching an art instruction on video by Joshua LaRock, by the way, just in case you want to know, portraiture. And why did I do that? Well, I'll be facetious a bit, because I didn't get in Oil Painters for America. That's not exactly true. But the reason is because I want to become a better artist. And so I invite you to join me in this quest for excellence that is long-term. Oh, how do you get better? Practice, 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 study, 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 and reach deep inside yourself and expect to get better. Expect. If you get beat down by some failures, you don't win the competition, you don't get stellar reviews, whatever it may be, that's going to happen. That happens to everybody. But reach deep down inside yourself and say, okay, like I'm doing right now, I can do this. And I'm working hard. Now, again, so many of you are, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing a little bit. You don't have to see my face. Some of you, your art is a hobby. It's something you enjoy. It's maybe you can hardly relate to all this crazy stuff I'm talking about being, one of the best artists in America kind of thing, which is, yes, that's my goal, to be one of the best artists in America. I've only got 6 years left. Wow, that scares the bejesus out of me. 6 years. I've been saying this for 10 years, and at the time I had 16 years to age 70. Anyway, I hope that my example is an encouragement to you. If not, I hope that Hokusai's example is encouragement to you. Kept improving every decade of his life. Google him, look him up. Hokusai, spelled, of course, just the way it sounds, the way Japanese words are when they translate. Easy to spell, just sound it up. Hokusai. And let the two of us, let me and my good buddy Hokusai be an encouragement to you. Okay, that's good enough. Maybe I'll bring you back in I'll bring you back in when I'm painting the house. I have to wait for all this to dry. Then I'm going to peel the mask off of this house and continue. So I'll be back in a little while. Thanks so much. Hello, welcome back. Once again, I am doing an architectural rendering in pen and ink and watercolor of, this is the CAD drawing that my client provided me. Here's my watercolor kit, and here's the illustration. I just finished a few minutes ago doing, real quickly, all this general foliage around the house. I masked, as you can see, I masked out this house so I could use great big brushes and render that really quickly. And now I am in the process of painting the house itself. And I think I will do it in this sort of gun barrel gray color that is the color that they gave to me. And I haven't done very many houses for this client in gray, so not a bad. I should have done that right there with my left hand, shouldn't I, instead of turning it over. Missed an opportunity to do some left-handed painting in watercolor. So there's not really very much exciting about this project. I don't think I'll keep you the whole time. Pretty pedantic kind of stuff. I think that's a fair word. I spoke yesterday, or 2 days ago, I mean, about illustration and craftsmanship. And I talked about, I used the word monotony, or no, that's not the word. I used that a little bit, but the main word I used was, what was it? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now. A word that means something similar to monotony, boringness anyway. Those who are not willing to pay for the price of doing boring work are never going to become skilled craftsmen. That's basically what I was saying. Again, the word will come to me in a minute here. So I'm doing more of that today. Just kind of ho-hum. Has to be done. Again, well, it has to be done if I want to get paid. It doesn't have to be done at all. I don't have to do this kind of work. I do it because a client called with a need and a budget, willing to pay to get the work done. So if they're willing to pay me, I can think of a whole lot worse things to do for a living than sit here and do a quick watercolor rendering for these people. And I'm being facetious here, and I mean, it's actually quite relaxing. I get to hone my skills, even if it's just slightly honing them. I get to create something with my hands, and there's always a sense of satisfaction when you do something, that you create something of excellence with your hands. And again, a couple of days ago, I got on a big thing about much modern art, much of which eschews, to use a big word. Much modern art, in fact, ridicules and looks down on craftsmanship. And one of the sad things about that for the artists, and I'm thinking here especially the art students, who swallow that thinking, is that in fact, craftsmanship, creating a thing of beauty, I'll use that dangerous word, creating anything of beauty is good for the soul. That is good for your inner emotional, psychological well-being. Doing something creative is slightly good for your soul. There's a progression here. And expressing yourself is of minimal benefit to your soul. Let me say that again, the other way around. So again, this flies in the face of much of what is heralded in the modern art world as good art. And here's the sad truth. It's sad because of, again, what it does to people, especially young people. Expressing yourself, which many people in our culture believe that is actually the essence of art, is self-expression. Could not be further from the truth. It's an absurd notion, birthed in 1913 with the New York Armory show. I'm exaggerating slightly, but you could actually put a date on it. When did this self-expression myth get started? And the answer is, in America, 1913 New York Armory abstract expressionist show. Again, it's a slight exaggeration, of course, but it's pretty amazing that you can even begin to put any kind of date on a cultural myth. Most of them can't be dated at all, but that one can. Okay, so the tragedy is that it's not self-expression does not really do much to benefit the psychological state of the expressor. There may be a rare exception to this when someone is using art as a form of therapy, and art can be therapeutic, and self-expression can be therapeutic, but is not often therapeutic. You've experienced this before. All of us have. Let me digress. I wasn't going to get into this, but I'm this far in. Let me continue. Many of us have experienced anger about something. Did you hear what I just said? I said many of us have experienced anger. That's a little bit of an understatement. Oh, okay, we've all experienced anger. And what I mean to say, I just didn't finish. And we have given vent or expression to our feelings of anger, right? We've cussed, we've sworn, we've yelled, we've screamed, we've stomped our feet. We've done all kinds of things in order to express our displeasure. And if you think about it, here's what I want you to think about. How many times did that expression of anger actually make you feel better after you did it? The answer is very, very rarely. The outburst often leaves you not only not healed or whole, it actually often leaves you even more angry after you've expressed your anger than you were before you expressed it. Now, I mean, I'm human like you are. I know when you're angry, you want to hit something, kill somebody. You know, maybe you don't want to kill anybody, but I do. I'll admit it. Fortunately, I rarely have the opportunity. And I hope I would cool down before, and change my mind before I actually did anything. Obviously, some people don't, and they really do kill people. But anybody who thinks, any man in particular, I'll blame the men, who doesn't think they're capable of killing somebody, I don't know what kind of men they are. I think every man is capable of doing atrocities. And anyway, after you give vent to your rage and anger, you don't feel better. In fact, you feel worse. Often. And that's what I want to say about the art that is expressive, self-expressive. It does not do good for the person who does the expressing. Contrary to, I think, commonly held theory, no more than you losing your temper makes you feel better. It does not make you feel better. Okay, so, but what does make you feel better? Well, doing something creative helps you a little bit. Expressing yourself does very little good. And again, most modern art is predicated, a lot of it is predicated on the notion that art is about self-expression. So yeah, I'm taking modern art to task. Doing something creative is of some benefit, but listen to this. Doing something with excellence is of great benefit. So what I'm saying is, if you want to bring healing to your injured soul, and I hope I'm not being too creepy on all of you here, but we all have injured souls, and we all need the care and feeding the human soul is a lifetime job. And if you want to really do yourself some good, do something with excellence. So art is very healing. And again, I believe we can see this, what's the word, this, not tendency, we can see this, that what I've just said, we can see it spelled out in the lives of many modern artists. I'll say Michael Basquiat, and I'm not sure I'm saying his name. It looks like Basquiat, the highest paid American modern artist, died. He did not do things of excellence. Forgive me, in my humble opinion, he was about self-expression, political expression, and he died of a drug overdose at age 26. Now, I'm not saying there's a one-to-one correlation, but there is a tendency, in my opinion, for there to be a correlation. Jackson Pollock. Is his work excellent? It's sociopolitically excellent. He was very savvy. He knew what buttons to push to do the kind of art that his peers wanted to see. But did it have craftsmanship? That's the word. That's the word I used the other day. Did it have craftsmanship? And I would say it had minimal. And he died young in a drunken car wreck. Again, more than incidental, I think. And I know I'm sounding really preachy to some of you, and I'm sorry about that, but I think it's the truth. And I think I'm getting old enough that I can say some of these things. Just because I'm an old fart, that's all. I can get away with saying it, even though I thought the same thing when I was 20-something. I'm getting more courageous as I get older. Some of you liked me better when I wasn't so courageous, maybe. I was more discreet. Anyway, how'd I get on all that? I was talking about craftsmanship, and here I am doing the tedium. That's the word I was using the other day. He or she, the ancient Chinese proverb. I'm kidding about the Chinese proverb part. Ancient Chinese proverbs say, he or she who will not endure the pain, the self-inflicted pain of tedium, will never be a craftsman. And craftsmanship is good for the soul. Now, I also happen to believe it's good for the planet, good for the world, good for everybody else in the world besides the artist. But for a moment there, I was just focusing on the artist, him or herself. Producing a thing of excellence makes you feel good. I'm not being paid very much for this watercolor painting. But I'm being paid enough. And when I'm finished the job, I probably will not bring this one today downstairs and show my wife, just to give you some indicator. When I do an oil painting that I'm happy with, I take it to my wife. I say, well, here's today's painting, because I want her to say, oh, baby, that's wonderful. Or she says, well, I'm not sure about blank. She does, and then I'm sorry I asked her. Not really. I'm kidding. I'm glad I've got a wife who has the skills and the eye and the courage to tell me what she really thinks. She's not an artist, so when I want to find out how a non-artist views something, I can ask her, which is a great benefit. Okay, so I seem to be rambling, don't I? Seeing nothing, I am rambling. All those of you who hate my rambling, well, you've long since hung up on me and you're not watching this. You're not watching this anymore. I am, by the way, working on a book on the subject of modern art. Have been doing it for several years. Have probably 250 or 300 pages written. I was stuck for a number of months waiting for the next bit of insight to chunk into place, and that happened last week, and it was all about craftsmanship. I had written some about the value of craftsmanship. I just wasn't completely convinced that it was as pivotal as I am now thinking. No, it's pivotal. The issue of craftsmanship. Now, some modern art exhibits a great deal of craftsmanship. Once again, I've said this often. I said it the other day. I said it as my wife and I walked through the halls of the National Gallery of Art, the modern art section. It's not black and white. It is not a black and white issue. Some modern art is beautiful. Some of it demonstrates craftsmanship and so forth. But much of it absolutely does not. It's an anti-craftsmanship ethos. A generous dose of anti-craftsmanship exists in the modern art world, as many of you know. Whew. Well, I fear this is going to get boring. What I'm painting right now is not very exciting, so I'll probably let you go here in a minute. I don't seem to have gotten any comments, which is neither here nor there. There's a small handful of you watching. Thank you guys. Literally a handful. 5. If I could figure out how so many bad artists get thousands of people to watch their videos, I would do it. If anybody has a good tip, there are a number of artists online that are phenomenal. Absolutely, I grovel at their feet of some really, really, really good artists online. Okay. There are also some really embarrassingly bad artists online, some of whom have remarkable followership. Many people watch their videos. That's just astounding to me, but that's all right. It's not my planet. I'm not in charge. Yeah, sure, I'd love to have more people watching. So, if you like this and if you're an artist, please tell your artist friends to watch it. If you don't like it, of course, just keep that to yourself. Isn't this fun though? See, just with pen and ink and watercolor on paper, creating the three-dimensional illusion of that roof. I mean, again, if you don't think that's fun, then yeah, you're probably not an artist, are you? It's just fun creating anything. Oh, one more comment. In the first half of this broadcast, when I was doing this painting out here, I was talking about how I hope to get better as long as I live, throughout my entire life. I hope to be. I'm 64. I'm better than I was at 63. Better than I was at 50. Better than I was at 40, and so on and so on and so forth. Much better, by the way. I didn't enter the full-time painting career till I was about 50, so I started late. I was an illustrator before that, doing much more this kind of stuff. So I was doing a lot of artwork, but it wasn't. Anyway, I want to get better, and I thought after I hung up, I should add one more thing. So how do you get better? I mentioned this. I mean, I asked that question. I posed that question in the first half of this broadcast, but I didn't give the best answer. So I want to give the best answer. So how do you get better? Because I think there is one main word, and I want you to Look at my face. Painful though it may be. How do you get better? I could use two different words, but I'll use one. The answer is sketchbook. Now, the real sketchbook won't make you better. What makes you better is studies. And what is a study? I don't mean studying. I don't mean taking classes or going to stuff online or anything like that. No. What I mean is doing studies, drawing stuff. Draw stuff, draw stuff, draw stuff. In fact, as I say that, my eyes go over here. Let me this first unveiling of a project that I might be working on. I'm toying with the idea. First of all, here's a bunch of images that I downloaded off the internet. I can show you those later. I'm toying with the idea. I don't know if this is ever going to see the light of day, but I'm toying with the idea of doing an illustration or a painting, maybe each, maybe both. I might do an illustration in the style of Drew Struzan, most famous movie poster artist of our day. I might do an illustration of this in his style, and in addition to that, I might do an oil painting. And what is it? It's going to be maybe an Angel of America, Angel over America. Now, you can ask me, well, what are you trying to say? And the answer is, I'm not really sure. It's not a gloomy. I mean, I hate doomy, gloomy, political. So it's not political. In fact, if I do this, there's a face that I found online and drew. If I do this Angel of America, ironically, I believe it should be a Native American or First Nations figure. So I found these beautiful pictures. I mean, beautiful people are beautiful, aren't they? No matter what sex or what race they are. We all just love beautiful people. So I found there's several Native American, American Indian, First Nations, blah blah blah, all you politically correct junk models, and I particularly like this face. So because I think if there's an Angel of America, it ought to be a Native American. Now, never mind. I don't want to get into that. Yeah, our white people treatment of the Native Americans is reprehensible beyond comprehension. But so I'm honoring them by making. Anyway, so here's what I'm showing though. This is sitting on my living room couch 2 nights ago. Watching something on TV with my wife and sketching. This is sitting here. These were done sitting here in my studio, sketching, just looking for ideas. The point I want to make is this is me doing studies. This, where I took this face and tried to capture it, that's a study. That's what builds up your skill. That's what will make me a better artist, is stuff like that. A little bit where I'm drawing figures out of my head. And of course, at a certain point, I copy it off. I'm thinking of where I'm looking up at a figure. So, of course, there's all kinds of, strong, beautiful, strong young men. Oh, man, youth, the beauty of youth, right? I know something that all old people know. All old people know that what is beautiful? Youth is beautiful. That's I was beautiful at one point. Now I have the beauty of old age. Anyway, the point being, that's what makes you better, is studies. Drawing stuff that looks like stuff. Drawing carefully stuff that looks like stuff, even more than painting. That's what makes you better. Okay. I just been all over the mat today. I'm going to mind my own business, finish this little rendering right here, and have a great time, and send them a bill and get paid for it. If you have comments, please leave them. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you like it, pass it on to somebody who needs to.